We're diving into something absolutely fascinating today. It's an incredibly common yet surprisingly rarely discussed part of human behavior. We're talking about the mask of resilience, specifically the deeply human act of smiling when we're actually hurting inside. It's something almost all of us have done at some point, right? Projecting total joy or stability while internally we're just wrestling with absolute turmoil. So we're going to break down the mechanics of this behavior to really figure out what's happening right beneath the surface.
Have you ever said, "I'm fine," when your world was literally falling apart? I really want you to think about that for a second, because this isn't just about what other people do, this is about what we do. Honestly, "I'm fine" might just be the most frequently told lie in human history. We use those two little words to instantly shut down questions, throw up a wall, and signal to the world that there's absolutely nothing to see here, even when our metaphorical house is completely burning down around us.
And that brings us to the core of our explainer today, based on the fascinating piece, The Psychology of People Who Smile When They're Hurt. We're going to peel back the layers of this incredibly complex emotional defense mechanism. It's like a giant puzzle, and we want to really understand the architecture of it all. Like, why do we actually do it? What does it truly cost us? And most importantly, how can we eventually find our way out of it? All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the mask of resilience and the outward projection of strength. So what exactly is the mask of resilience? It's defined as the psychological phenomenon of hiding internal pain behind an outward projection of strength and a smile. The absolutely key word here is projection, because this isn't some passive thing that just happens to us. It's an active, ongoing, really intense effort. The person wearing the mask is working so hard to broadcast a very specific frequency to the outside world. A frequency of competence, of happiness, and of totally unshakable strength. And it's all specifically designed to conceal the very real pain that's sitting right there underneath. And there is just this massive disconnect here, right? On one side, you've got what the outside world sees, the bright smile, the physical and emotional strength, the classic, "Hey, I'm totally fine." But on the flip side, internally, the reality is hidden emotional pain, active struggling, and just total turmoil. And here's the really wild part. This mask is so incredibly convincing. We get so exceptionally good at projecting this external illusion that our closest friends, our family, even our coworkers, they often have absolutely no idea that the internal reality even exists. It's a total mismatch. Moving on to Section 2, the psychology of hiding. Let's peel things back to the middle layer. Now, you might be wondering, if the mask is so utterly exhausting to wear, why do we hide in the first place? Well, there are three core psychological drivers at play here. First up is the fear of burdening others. This is a massive one. We often lie to the exact people we love the most simply because we don't want them to worry. We trick ourselves into thinking we're protecting them by carrying the whole weight completely alone. Second is self-preservation. Sometimes showing vulnerability just feels incredibly dangerous, It's like exposing a fresh wound in a room full of threats. So the smile becomes a literal shield. And third is societal pressure. And what's absolutely crucial to realize here is that wearing this mask is almost never about malicious deception. It is pretty much always a coping mechanism born straight out of a really deep desire to protect ourselves or the people around us. Let's camp out on that last point for a second, the societal pressure. The societal expectation of resilience often basically demands that we are always strong. We live in this culture that constantly rewards relentless positivity, right? And unfortunately, it often views emotional struggle as a sign of weakness or inefficiency. We are just constantly bombarded with messages to keep calm and carry on, or maintain good vibes only. This societal myth of constant, unbreakable strength directly feeds the psychological reality of emotional masking. When the world around you tells you that your pain is unacceptable, well, you learn incredibly quickly to just slap on a smile and hide it. Which brings us to Section 3, the cost of the smile, as we finally reach the core. Maintaining this grand illusion of being fine requires an immense, truly staggering amount of psychological energy. Think about it. When what you're projecting on the outside completely contradicts what you're experiencing on the inside, you create this massive psychological disconnect. You're essentially trying to run two different operating systems at the exact same time. You've got one system trying to manage your actual lived pain, and then a whole secondary, highly taxing system running in the background just to make absolutely sure nobody else notices that pain. It's wild. And doing this just drains your mental and emotional battery at an incredibly alarming rate. And the reality of constantly draining that emotional battery leads to three major and pretty severe outcomes. First, there's a huge risk of burnout. You simply cannot sprint emotionally forever. Eventually, the sheer energy required to fake that smile runs out, and it leads to total crash and burn exhaustion. Second, we see accumulated hidden stress. Because here's the thing, stress doesn't just magically vanish just because you aren't showing it to anyone. It compounds in the dark. And third, unprocessed emotional pain. This one is perhaps the most dangerous of all. A smile doesn't heal a wound. By masking the pain, you're actively denying yourself the opportunity to actually process it, to understand it, and to eventually move past it. It just stays trapped right there inside you. So let's look at section 4, removing the mask and the path to authentic vulnerability. Okay, so how do we safely step away from this protective smile? The explainer outlines 3 essential steps. Step 1, recognize the mask. You have to actually admit to yourself that your go-to "I'm fine" is really a defense mechanism. Awareness is absolutely the prerequisite for any kind of change. Step 2, safely drop the mask in a secure environment. Now, let's be clear, this doesn't mean you have to suddenly broadcast your deepest pain to the entire world. It means finding a therapist, maybe a support group, or even just one deeply trusted friend where you can let that facade fall completely without any fear of judgment. And finally, step 3, begin processing the hidden pain. Once the mask is actually off in that safe, secure space, the real, authentic work of healing can finally begin. I really want to leave you with a question to chew on today. What masks are you currently wearing, and is it time to finally take them off? Because the truth is, true resilience isn't about faking a smile when you're hurting. Not at all. True resilience is actually having the immense courage to take the mask off, to look someone in the eye and admit that things aren't fine, and to allow yourself to be authentically vulnerable. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. I really hope breaking this down has helped you understand the profound psychology behind the smiles we all wear. And hey, maybe it even encourages you to check in on the people in your life who always seem just a little too fine.